listening to Heroes Forge, a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
Forgers of the world, what's happening? This is episode number 44 of Heroes Forge, a community-driven podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. This is your show host, Jeff Reynolds. Here in the forging ring with me, as always, is the co-host of the show, Kristen Ashton. How's it going, Kristen?
It's going great today, Jeff, and I am offering the belt to you, sir. We have a new victor this week. Everyone give it up for Jeff.
We do. I did end up winning the forging challenge last week, so it's 1-1 here. Kristen won the first week, I won the second week, so I gladly take the belt, and we'll see where it goes from there. And this week in the voting, we have a little bit of a different a modifier to kind of throw in there, because what I want to say is that I am so elated and happy to announce that we have a guest host this week. He's joined us on the show before. He's the incredible host of the Realm Maintenance podcast. It is Ro from Realm Maintenance. What is going on, Ro?
Hey guys, in living color this time. No Void Lord.
No Void Lord.
If you're watching the video stream. But yeah, hi. It's great to be back. Man, you guys have come out with so many interesting hero concepts just over the past month and a half alone. It doesn't feel like it's been that long since the last time I was on.
Yeah, it wasn't. And last time we were on, we forged Lei Shen, which is by far one of my, I don't know about you, Kristen, but it's one of my favorite episodes that we did so far.
In retrospect, it has become one of my favorites because when we forged it, I hadn't gone through Pandaria yet. But since then, I've been through the world, and that is, my goodness, one of the most beautiful expansions to ever come about, in my personal opinion. It's fantastic. So, and of course, the legends built around Lei Shen, and I see it around the world and all the hints at the evils that could be there. It's so awesome.
Did you have a chance to go through the raid itself?
Not yet, but I do plan on going back through that older content, and maybe I could solo it now, but I don't know.
Okay, so quick advice. If you have a level 110 character, you will be able to solo almost the entire raid except for this one boss called the Dark Animus. Just because of the way the mechanics are for that boss, you really want to have 3 or 4 people with you, because if you're just by yourself, there's this weird damage buff that all of the ads get when they're close together. So if you don't have enough players keeping them spread out, all that damage is going to get multiplied 100-fold on you. So bring some friends for at least that boss, but otherwise you can solo most of it.
Awesome. Will do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kristen, I'll do that with you. I mean, I love going back and doing all that old content. And, all these games are flourishing like crazy right now. I mean, we talk about this and we talk about how we talk about this all the time. And BlizzCon is around the corner. And, Ro, we were talking before the show started a little bit about some of the stuff that you are planning for the people that are attending BlizzCon, pre-parties, before, after, and even people can listen to it if they're not attending BlizzCon. Why don't you tell people a little bit about what the extra stuff is you're doing for the community at BlizzCon?
Sure. So I've been asked by the organizers of Calm Before the Storm, which is an annual party that's been happening every year, recently at the Anaheim Hilton, to once again work together with them to present this little thing that's part of Calm Before the Storm called World of Podcasts. And World of Podcasts is basically what happens when you take podcasters from a whole variety of different shows, put them together in the same room, and essentially do mini podcasts with them. So what's going to be, it's going to run from, I believe, 5:30 to 10:30 in the Anaheim Hilton in the second floor California Ballroom. And we're going to have 5 different panels, one for Warcraft, one for Overwatch, one for Heroes of the Storm, and one for Hearthstone, and then one that covers just specifically podcasting. And you're going to see people we might as well talk Heroes of the Storm here, the Heroes of the Storm panel. Let's see if I remember everyone that's going to be there. You're going to have Scott Johnson moderating it from Core. His co-host John Jagger will be there. Someone named Kyle Ferguson will be there too.
Who's Kyle Ferguson? You speak. Yeah, there's some no names, right? You could at least get some big name people.
I know. So there's Kyle there. We're also going to have Ryan Reeder, TBK Zord from the Lords of the Storm podcast. And oh my gosh, why am I missing one? Oh, and Rillandune from Hotscast. So all of them are going to be together talking about Heroes of the Storm. Whenever you have Scott hosting or moderating something, you never know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But that combined with a whole bunch of other panels, if you're in person, you can see those panels take place as part of the Calm Before the Storm festivities. If you don't happen to be at BlizzCon or in Anaheim the night before BlizzCon, you can still catch the stuff online if you go to Alpha Geek Radio. That'll be running again on Thursday, November 3rd from 5:30 to 10:30. It should be on one of Alpha Geek Radio's live stream channels. And after the fact, if you can't catch it live, you should still be able to find a recorded version of any of the panels. They'll be separated out so you can listen to the panel of your choice. And that'll be up in several places. I believe Alpha Geek Radio will keep it archived. The Calm Before the Storm site should keep it archived. And I've been given permission to host those panels on the Realm Maintenance site too. So if you ever listen to the Realm Maintenance podcast, you should be able to find recorded versions of the World of Podcast panels there. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great event. A whole bunch of podcasters that people may be familiar with, and maybe a few that you haven't heard of before too. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's the fourth World of Podcasts, and I'm happy to be a part of organizing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the things that you do for the podcasting community and all of the podcasters out there, it's just incredible. And if you haven't listened to Realm Maintenance, get out there and download the show, especially if you're a huge Blizzard fan like I know we all are. The reason I say that is because it touches on every single aspect of all of these Blizzard games. You get to hear snippets of other podcasts, and I can't tell you how many podcasts I've started to listen to because of your podcast, Ro. So I'm telling you, It is great. It is a great show. Get out there and listen to it, and listen to it while you're gaming or while you're driving, or just there's tons of great content there. So check it out. Let's get into some gaming talk here a little bit. Kristen, have you had a chance to play any of these brawl matches on the live server so far?
I have, and I have this hilarious story. The stories that come from these brawls are amazing. So my first go round, not too good. We lost it. I was still trying to figure out what the heck was going on. Second game, I get in there, and this team and I, we seem like we're going to be cohesive. It was fine. But what really sealed the deal for me is that I was on Sylvanas, and we had a Sergeant Hammer on our team, and I was down to a sliver of health. If I had breathed wrong, I would have died, and I'm running away, and there's a Vala chasing me down. But the Sergeant Hammer sees this, so she comes around in the opposite direction I'm running and blows back the Vala so that I can get out safely. And from there on in, we were covering each other the entire time. It was poetry in motion, a dance, if you will.
Dancing around the brawl. That could be a whole brawl idea itself. And speaking of brawl ideas, we had the opportunity to interview a Heroes of the Storm producer last week. We recorded the show and it just became live now. So episode 43, which is the one that's right before this one, is now live on iTunes or your favorite podcasting app. You can check it out on our YouTube channel, and you can also check it out on our website, which is HeroesForge.club. Please listen to it. It's incredible, and there's actually one or two questions in there. Claudio Gentilini was the producer that we got to interview, and he answered a couple of questions that I didn't think he was going to be able to answer. So there are some really cool little inside Heroes tidbits in there that I really want everyone to be able to listen to and hear. And thank you again to Blizzard and the community team for allowing us to do that. And check out episode number 44. Now, Ro, like we talked about before, the last time you were on the show, we forged Lei Shen. But this time, when you contacted us, actually, this time, and you said, I got this great idea for your show, guys, and I want to do something a little bit different, and I'd love to guest on it, too. I couldn't type yes, please, fast enough in my keyboard. Tell the listeners out there what idea you thought we should do on the show today.
Well, this kind of goes a little bit back to what we've discussed before. I believe it talked about a little bit when I interviewed you guys on Realm Maintenance. And with all of the heroes that you guys have forged, there have been so many awesome ideas. One thing that I was thinking about is you had Diablo has their Eternal Conflict Battlegrounds. StarCraft with Machines of War recently got some Battlegrounds added to Heroes of the Storm. But you notice the Warcraft universe isn't represented, and maybe a couple other universes that Blizzard touches on could use a little love as well. So in general, I suggested, why not Forge Battlegrounds?
Heck yeah, Forging Battlegrounds. Kristen, we've been talking about this since day one.
We have been. It is a goal of ours because, I mean, it's not just the heroes that make the Heroes of the Storm universe colorful. It's the fact that there's more than one map, and that the directors and the producers and the creators are changing these. We are constantly switching maps out each season and everything. So it really helps breathe life into the genre.
I still miss Haunted Mines. I don't care what anyone else says.
I'm right there with you, bro. Haunted Mines will always be one of my favorites.
I like Haunted Mines too. Maybe it's just because we haven't played it in so long, like in this competitive scene, and I'm curious to see if maybe at BlizzCon they have an announcement for bringing Haunted Mines back in a different fashion or making it a little more balanced. But
you know, with this Halloween thing going on, I am totally surprised they did not take advantage of bringing back Haunted Mines from the dead as like a Halloween exclusive map. Why not have their first Heroes Brawl have been the return of Haunted Mines? I don't know if that would have been a good impression or a bad impression, though.
I think last year it felt like Towers of Doom was going to be their Halloween feel, you know, the Headless Horseman and all that stuff.
Headless Horseman, yeah.
And it came out a little later than Halloween. Maybe it wasn't ready, or maybe they wanted to announce it at BlizzCon, so it didn't live in that time period. But I agree, Kristen, that would have been an awesome idea.
It would have been, and I know I mean the mercs that push their little pumpkin heads, right? But it speaks to Blizzard's dedication to the fact they won't release something unless they feel it's ready. And even though it pushed back Towers of Doom was a great map when it released. So even though it was a little late, it was still awesome.
Yeah, it's incredibly fun, and I can't wait to see what's on the horizon, and I can't wait to see what's on the horizon for these builds for Battlegrounds tonight. So, we've got to say it. Let's forge!
Let's forge!
Forging Battlegrounds with Ro from Realm Maintenance. Ro, since you're our special guest, you get to go first tonight. So the way that we imagine this will work, and we're going to kind of organically create this as we go, because like we said before, this is our first time forging Battlegrounds. So Ro actually helped us create a template for what all good Battlegrounds have. It includes things like what universe are they from, what would the name of the battleground be, maybe give a little lore, geography of the battleground, victory conditions, and so on and so forth, on and on and on, to make this an awesome episode. So, Ro, we're going to start with yours. Why don't you tell us what Blizzard gaming universe and the name of your battleground?
I want you to imagine this was BlizzCon, and if they were introducing this at BlizzCon, the lights would get a little dark, and then all of a sudden you'd hear some rock music playing. And you'd hear "Welcome to the Jungle." You'd wonder what the heck is going on. And the next thing, you're seeing dinosaurs flying across the screen left and right, heroes running for their lives, picking up crystals, running through this jungle full of just sheer chaos and insanity, fire coming from a volcano, going to heavy rock music. It's just the greatness that is Un'Goro Crater. We're not going to Ice Crown. We're not going to any sort of raid. Un'Goro Crater, in my opinion, was made to be a Heroes of the Storm battleground, and perhaps one of the most unique battlegrounds you will ever see in the game.
Oh my gosh, Ro! What's your history with Un'Goro Crater? Was it like one of your favorite things in World of Warcraft?
So, going way back to when I leveled my first couple of characters, Un'Goro Crater, just for some reason it kind of caught my imagination because it felt so different compared to your swords and sorcery and all the stuff that you kind of associate with Warcraft, orcs and humans and stuff. You did all that kind of leveling and night elves and all that stuff. Then you get to Un'Goro Crater in your 50s, and all of a sudden you're dealing with rainbow-colored crystals and dinosaurs and tar pit monsters, and then all this other weird stuff, and pillars and these stone guardians. I'm like, this is totally alien from anything else I've done so far in the game. I think that's one reason why it left such an impact on me, and it was a nice change of pace. And I just found that before I had done any of the Burning Crusade content, it showed me that World of Warcraft can be many different things. So yeah, Ungoro has always been a fun zone of mine. And just the fact that you have these 3 pillars that are located on the northwest and eastern side, it was making me think, these pillars could work as kind of a map mechanic if it was a Heroes of the Storm Battlegrounds. So, yeah, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go away from the expected when we were going to forge a battleground here. I think Ungoro is a good fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Kristen, do you remember days of Ungoro Crater? Because I do.
I do. I remember getting stealth killed by a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I'll never forget it.
Yes. And before there were Fell Reavers in Burning Crusade, you would have these Fell Reavers, these big towering robots that seemed to come out of nowhere and smash you. Before we had Fell Reavers, you had the Devil Swords, these big giant T-Rex things. You'd be doing your thing, doing your questing throughout the jungle. Next thing you know, this Devil Sword's coming right after you, and the dude is 4 times taller than you are, and you are running for your life. Or if you're a Night Elf, you Shadow Melt,
Yeah. Cheap night elves, I'm telling you. I play one myself, everybody. Before you freak out, I play one myself. So, bro, okay, let's get into this battleground a little bit. So, tell us the name and the lore, a little bit of lore about Ungoro Crater, and a little bit about your thoughts for this.
So, Ungoro Crater, for those that aren't familiar, it lies at the southern part of southern Kalimdor. It's actually between 3 deserts, which makes it kind of unique in that you have this very lush jungle area that's surrounded by deserts on all sides. And Ungoro Crater was actually one of 3 different areas that the Titans use as kind of experimental grounds to test shaping life and all that stuff. You had Ungoro Crater, Sholazar Basin in Wrath of the Lich King, and the Vale of Eternal Blossoms in Mists of Pandaria. All of these were experimental grounds for the Titans. Ungoro was really the first one that players had a chance to check out. And that's why you have all these dinosaurs and these primordial life forms, and you had elemental forces and all of that stuff. The 3 pylons that stand out on the northwest and eastern sides are Titan constructs. So you have a little bit of Titan stuff mixed in with dinosaurs and jungles and all that, and it just makes it a really fascinating and diverse place. Now, as moving on to the victory condition, on most battlefields in Heroes of the Storm, of course, your team's objective is pretty straightforward: destroy the enemy core. On Ungoro Crater, the same objective is pretty much that. However, and here comes one of the big twists with this, Ungoro Crater presents that objective with a twist that combines elements of Blackheart's Bay, Sky Temple, and Towers of Doom.
Okay.
So let me see if I can explain how that all works. Like Towers of Doom, your core cannot be directly damaged by heroes or minions. The way that you are going to win is by having the pylons destroy the core. Now, the way you have the 3 pylons destroy the core is by going to the core and capturing it and remaining there while it is powered up and firing on the enemy's core. So that reminds you of Sky Temple. However, the pylons are available all the time, not like Sky Temple where only certain ones are active at different times. The catch is, in order to keep a pylon going and powered up and shooting at your enemy's core, you need to feed it crystals. Crystals are obtained by gaining them from dinosaurs and different creatures that are roaming throughout the jungle. And one of the other big twists about this thing is because the crater is really taking after its version in World of Warcraft. Guys, this is a battleground with 0 lanes. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 0. You are talking about a large open space which completely alters the game as far as strategy and tactics go. You do not have minions for each side pushing against the other person's core. The way I see the map situated is you have a north pylon, a west pylon, and an east pylon. In the lower left and lower right, so relatively close together but still a little bit apart, you have your blue team and red team base, so that each team basically has a pylon that's relatively close for them, and both sides have that northern pylon, which is pretty far away. Now, if you are able to capture and power one pylon, you're going to do a little bit of damage to the enemy's core. You do significantly more damage if you control two at the same time and feed them with crystals. And if you somehow manage to have the tactics to power up all three at the same time, which would really require dividing up your team and holding those towers, you can do a significant amount of damage in a short amount of time. It's like it basically amplifies all three towers if you control all three. Very tricky to do, very hard to pull off, but risk reward there. Now, going on more as far as the mechanics and such, as far as these towers work and the push and pull here, like I said, you kill stuff that's roaming around, dinosaurs and such, to obtain crystals. You take the crystals over to the pylon. As long as you are at the pylon and control it, your crystals will slowly be depleted as you are powering the pylon. While the pylon is powered, remember that big volcano I was talking about in the middle of Ungoro? Fire elementals are known to roam around that crater in World of Warcraft, as they do in the Battleground for Heroes of the Storm. And when you are powering up a pylon, these fire elementals take notice, and they don't like it. They don't like it at all. They want you off their lawn. So any pylon that is powered up acts as a magnet for these fire elementals, and these fire elementals will be heading toward the pylons to try to get you off of them and have you go back into the jungle, get off their lawn, do your own business. So that's the push and pull there. Not only are you fighting off fire elementals, but you also have to keep in mind, do I want to stay on the pylon? When do I want to head back out into the jungle and gather more crystals? Do we want to control two pylons at the same time? There is a ton of strategy going on for this Battleground that has 0 lanes. The other thing I can get to is talking about mercenary units. Now, like I said, neither blue team or red team has minions that are coming from the core, pushing against the other person's core. So what you do here is there are mercenaries in the Battleground, and you may wonder, well, how are mercenaries going to work if the only way you can damage the core is by the pylons? Well, mercenaries are actually going to help out in a couple of different ways, and there's a few different types of mercenaries. First of all, you have Venomhide Ravisaurs, which are the tameable raptor-type beasts in Ungoro Crater. If you defeat a pack of Venomhide Ravisaurs, those Ravisaurs, when under your control, will basically catch the sniff of blood of the enemy opposing team, and they will go directly for the enemy member with the lowest health. Basically, the one that's bleeding the most, that's shedding the most blood, is the target for these raptors. So a bit more strategy there. You want to make sure that if you're the enemy team and you find out the air team has raptors on the way, you better keep that group healed up. Otherwise, whoever's low is going to be in a world of hurt, especially if they're caught alone. So you have that going on. Those Venomhide Ravisaur camps are located... I gotta look at my notes here because I don't remember all the things up here. So the Ravisaurs are located near the top map of each side. But I was thinking about the positioning, and I wanted to have them as kind of like, if you're going to go after players, you're going to have to actually make the trek to get those guys for you. Now, there are merc camps located closer to your base, and these are the pterodactyl nests. The pterodactyl nests, if you capture a pterodactyl nest, which is like 2 or 3 flying pterodactyls around, the pterodactyls are a bit more of a strategy thing in that they will fly to the closest pylon. Now, it will either defend the pylon if you are controlling it. It'll help defend that pylon from the fire elementals that are attacking. So it's one way to kind of reinforce yourself from that mechanic. If you are near an enemy pylon, it's going to go over to that pylon and try to cause havoc for the other players, on top of the fact that fire elementals are attacking the other players. So the pterodactyls are basically a strategy thing to help you try to take back control or keep control of your pylons. Last, but certainly not least, we got to talk bosses.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we talked a little bit earlier about devil sores, Kristen.
We did.
And the sheer terror that is the devil sore, especially when you're just, minding your own business, walking around the jungle. By the way, I should say one thing about this jungle is a whole lot of bushes, a whole lot of hiding spots for stealth characters and such like that. Ooh. So a lot of good opportunities for play there. But there are 2 devil sores that are going in a clockwise rotation around this battleground. Basically, they are roaming the entire battleground throughout the match. These suckers have a lot of health. They are very powerful, and they are not something you do want to mess with until your team is at least level 12. If you even try to think about taking these bosses early on, you are likely going to die. Even 5 characters on a devil sore below level 12, you're asking for trouble. So this is something you don't want to try to take a devil sore till late game. So in the first half of the game, these devil sores are basically acting like random moving forces of chaos that while you're worried about getting to the pylon and fighting off the other team and all that stuff, you also have to worry about a devil sore coming out of the fog of war and seeing you and going after you. And like the Venomhide Ravisaurs, devil sores like to go for damage players as opposed to full health players. These dinosaurs get the scent of blood, so if you are wounded and you are wandering around and a devil sore is nearby, it is very dangerous. So this is a battleground that is not for the timid at all. Now, if you do get to level 13 or higher and you feel ballsy enough to take on one of these things, and you do manage to take on the devil sore, then the devil sore will be under your control, and it will head toward the closest structure by it whenever it is captured. Now, because these devil sores are rotating the entire map, there's a bit of strategy involved into where and when you try to take a devil sore down. And
right.
here's a kicker. If the devil sore is located closest, if the closest structure the devil sore is located to is the enemy core, that is a second way that the enemy core can be attacked. So the pylons can attack the enemy's core, and this devil sore can. And without your usual stream of defense from these automatic minions that most maps have, that means that the other team needs to get their heroes back to the enemy core, Hearthstone over there, and take out that devil sore before it just wrecks the entire game. So that's basically everything in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions about any particulars I've left out, I could answer them. I guess the only other thing I would say is one thing I added at the end of my notes is if you were to put an Easter egg in the map, because every map seems to have like an Easter egg of sorts, what would you put in? And going back to my fond memories of Ungoro Crater, there was an homage to the Link character from Legend of Zelda. In World of Warcraft, there is a gnome called Lincoln. So in one of the bushes in the Ungoro Crater, if you find a sword on the ground in front of a bush and you click on that bush enough times, a gnome in a Zelda-like Link suit would hop out, grab the sword, and run away.
That's amazing. Bro, this battleground is crazy cool, man. I love how just it's got so many cool random elements. It's got the fact that it doesn't have any lanes. That's insane.
That's the biggest thing. When I was trying to think of, I want to have, just like how at BlizzCon, you have characters that like totally make you think about playing a character a different way, like Cho'Gall and Lost Vikings. I wanted a battleground that broke the rules of Heroes of the Storm, and having a battleground with 0 lanes is about as close as you get to breaking those rules.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so many rules, quote unquote, are broken here, and it just sounds so cool. So my question is, with the devil sores, they pull aggro then. So you don't attack them in order to be attacked like the normal bosses in the game now. You can run past a merc camp or anything and it won't attack you. Are you saying that these These units
Devil-
will attack you.
Devil Soars aggro, yes. All the other bosses in Heroes of the Storm don't aggro unless you attack them. Devil Soars are walking, chomping masses of death and destruction. So yes, it is a very dangerous battleground. It's dinosaurs everywhere, and one thing I guess I forgot to say is the dinosaurs that are roaming the entire jungle. I mean, you could have some minor like stegosauruses or something like that, and more or less different dinosaurs would yield different amounts of crystals. The smaller ones are obviously going to be less painful to take down. Some would require only one hero to take down. Some might require maybe 2 or 3 to take out. And it's a whole risk-reward thing. The bigger the hunt, the bigger the prey, the more crystals you're going to get.
Wow, Kristen, doesn't that sound insane with the aggro and everything? I mean, it would be huge. I mean, you're out there, you're trying to get these crystals, you're trying to watch out for enemy heroes, and it's gonna stealth dino you like you got stealthed.
It's gonna be a dirty battleground. There's gonna be some nasty fights that happen. That's all I can imagine. Apart from me crying in a corner, going, "Oh, my! Now we're gonna have to rate battlegrounds based on ease, right?" But my question here. On the mini map, are specific things going to be noted, like the groups of little dinosaurs or the big pterosaurs?
So the merc camps, you'll be able to know the location of the merc camps for like the pterodactyl nests and the venomhind rabosaur groups. You'll know where those are. You'll know where the pylons are. You'll know the locations of the enemy base. Then there's, of course, the volcano in the center. As far as the location of the devil soars, if they happen to be like within your team's sight range, then yes, you'll be able to see them. Now, one mechanic I was actually thinking about this is that because there aren't traditional lanes and there aren't minions to give you map vision, we'd probably want to add in something that gives teams map vision. So what I would envision, just thinking this off the top of my head right now, is maybe there are some trees with like torches and stuff, or there are campsites where you can light up fires, and that creates map vision for your team. That's one thing I hadn't actually thought about till just now, is there'd be one trick would be how to give your team map vision so you can see when those devil swords are coming.
Yeah, that's a great idea with the torches and stuff. I think that's so original and so cool. And so instead of like capturing a vision point that's all magical, in here you're just like Indiana Jones in this crap, and you're lighting torches so that you can see everything around you. I mean, geez, that's such a cool idea. I love the thought of no lanes because, as you know, Kristen, on the show, I always talk about crazy stuff that would be, completely out of the box, and Ro touched on it a little bit with the Cho'Gall aspect and the Abathur. And so why can't we do that with maps, Kristen? I think we can.
I think with the right programming, it certainly could be done. But then again, that's the question, right? Because so far with the maps we've seen, there's that basic pattern. You have minions that push specified lanes. That's how you get kind of basic XP going. You have your merc camps, and then you have whatever objective it is, taking down the core. But I think that would be amazing if we could get a map without lanes, just to see what would happen. Maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't, but it would be a grand experiment.
Absolutely. And chat room is talking about how they need a map editor in Heroes of the Storm, and I'm thinking, yeah, that'd be so cool. I think we're a ways off from that, unfortunately, because I would love that so much. But I mean, something like this, Ro, would live in that realm for sure.
Oh yeah. I think this would be a great map to introduce as far as like if you were to have a Warcraft event. And I could also imagine if you're going to have a Warcraft event where you're introducing Ungoro Crater, a perfect hero to introduce during that kind of Warcraft event would be Harrison Jones. And you can save him for another episode or such. Have you done Harrison Jones yet?
We have done Harrison Jones.
Okay, so Harrison Jones would be a perfect fit for Ungoro Crater. I think the whole adventuring aspect and stuff. I could see his opening cinematic having him running away from dinosaurs in Ungoro Crater while he's holding on to a crystal.
That'd be so
as long as in this one he punches a raptor at some point.
Right?
Yep, or one of the big old T-Rexes stealthed or something. That'd be hilarious. Ro, that first battleground is going to be really hard to beat for us here. If you had to sum up your battleground in one short phrase for Ungoro Crater, what do you think sums it all up?
Dinosaurs, crystals, chaos.
Bam! That was right off the top of your head, and that's perfect. All right, Ro, with Ungoro Crater bringing us out in the lead here, we've got some more Battlegrounds to talk about here on the show tonight. But if this is your first time listening to Heroes Forge, welcome to the show. We're so happy that you're here. This show is all about a community-driven aspect here where we build hero kits from week to week. And this specific episode, we're building Battlegrounds. So thank you for joining us. Make sure you listen to us. We're live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, and you can check us out on twitch.tv/Amove TV, or our podcast. You can download it on your favorite podcasting app of choice. Also, if you enjoy the show, make sure you head on over to our Patreon supporter site, and you can see some cool ways to support the show and see our future goals. And a special thank you to all of the people that are supporting us on Patreon and beyond now. All right, let's get to this second battleground here, and I believe I am up next. Now, Ro, you said that you think that World of Warcraft isn't represented enough in Heroes of the Storm, and I have to agree when it comes to Battlegrounds. I definitely have to agree. So I'm on the World of Warcraft event train with you here, Ro, which is gonna be really fun. So playing as much Warcraft as I am right now and being immersed in this whole Legion aspect of everything that's going on and how great it is and the hype surrounding it, I thought, how cool would it be if we took Helheim and made it a battleground for Heroes of the Storm?
Nice. I like that.
So this is going to be a little different, so just stay with me during this little explanation here, because it's like Ungoro Crater in some aspects. It's a little crazy. So Helheim is located in Stormheim, which is in the Broken Isles, and it's ruled by Helya. This is a polar opposite area to the Halls of Valor if you've played Legion. While the greatest Vicruel warriors are brought to the Halls of Valor, the unworthy are pulled into Helheim upon their death. The Kavalar also raid the coastlines and bring souls here before they can be judged at all, thus robbing Odin from potential champions for his Valajar. Here, the spirits of the dishonorable spend eternity in the endless futile battle, always seeking glory, but never able to obtain it. So this is a really dark and dirty and gross. I mean, if you've got into that zone there, it can be crazy. I mean, it's battling all over the place, and it's got this really, really dark feel. So the first map that I think of in Heroes of the Storm that has that dark feel is Towers of Doom. But I want to take it to the next level with this darkness. I want it to be even darker, and I want it to be even crazier than that. So the victory condition on this Helheim map is to use unique map objectives to aid Helya in destroying your opponent's core before she destroys your core. So we're talking Helya here. If you haven't seen a picture of Helya, she's this massive model in the game that's got these huge tentacles, and she basically is submerged in water when you see her. She comes up from the water in these huge tentacles, and she's got this huge booming voice and some great lore behind her, and it's incredible. And I don't want to spoil some things from Legion, so if you haven't gotten into that yet, make sure you check out pictures of Helya so you can see what she looks like, because it's insane. So Hel is in Norse mythology is the name of the underworld, so that's where Helheim comes from. So the art in Legion for Helheim doesn't disappoint. It's smoky, dark, dank areas that are littered with unworthy souls. So I picture this battleground to be rocky, really dark, and in my imagination it's darker than Towers of Doom, as I said before. So this would be a 3-lane map. And the map would be set on 2 islands in this Nexus Helheim. So one island is on the right and the other island is on the left, obviously, just like a normal map setup. At opposite ends of the islands are the team's cores, and they're depicted by huge, dilapidated Valkyr statues. The islands are connected in the middle by 3 bridges that run along all 3 lanes. So you've got your pathways on the island, and then once it gets to the water, there's a bridge there, and you cross the bridge to go over. And that's how you get in between the 2 islands. So basically right now, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. 3 lanes connecting 2 islands with bridges in the middle. At the bottom of the map, on both of the islands, is a dock that the Maw of Souls will dock at, and players can climb aboard the Maw from these docks only. So, the Maw is basically going to sail from the bottom of the map underneath the bridges to the top of the map. And that gets into the map mechanics here. So at the beginning of the battle, the map will play like a normal 3-lane battleground. On a timer, similar to other Battleground objectives, a loud horn will sound, informing the players that the Maw of Souls is inbound. At this time, the Maw will sail from the bottom of the map and stop to allow players to climb aboard using the dock that's on their island. Once on board the Maw, the teams will be able to fight the adds that are on board. Each team has a soul chest that's displayed on the Maw. These chests hold souls that are being delivered to Helya herself. When the Maw reaches the top of the map, a massive Helya appears from the depths and swipes the players off the ship back to their respective islands. Once Helya receives her souls from the Maw and kicks the players off, she will begin doing damage to the team's bases, both of them at the same time. This damage is based on how many souls are in each of the team's chests. Each one of the adds that's slain while on the Maw will release a soul from your chest, thus lessening the damage that Helya does to your base. If you slay an enemy hero while on board the Maw, it will add 2 souls to their chest. So it's got a crazy kind of aspect here where you're buffing, you're not buffing the damage that Helya does to the enemy team. Rather, you're trying to decrease the amount of damage she's going to do to your core. And then if you happen to get a hero kill on the other side, it adds some souls to their chest. So each set of islands is going to have 2 merc camps that can be captured, but these are a little different than normal merc camps because they won't push the lanes. Instead, these merc camps will head down to the dock and wait for the next launch of the Maw of Souls. When the Maw arrives, the horn will sound, they will board and begin to fight. Whether it's the minions that are on the Maw, or if they grabbed a merc camp on the other side, they'll begin to fight on the ship that's going to sail underneath all of these bridges to try to make it to the northernmost end of the fight. So that's basically what I'm thinking here. So you can get to the core on either side, but these map objectives are going to wreck you if you don't get on the Maw, try to defend yourself, try to get some souls out of your chest so that when it gets to the top and you get swiped off, that you don't take a ton of damage.
Now, one question I have for you is just thinking about bosses. I think if you did have a boss for this map, it'd have to be the 3-headed Gwarm.
Oh,
that
yeah.
we see during the level content.
Yeah, coming up in 7.1, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see him during the leveling content, but he's also going to be a raid boss in 7.1. But yeah, I could see like him being a possible boss. You know, this is a really unique idea because what it kind of makes me feel, it's like elements of Blackheart's Bay meets Haunted Mines, and that the ship is in a way kind of like its own mini map, and not only that, but this like moving mini map, which is really cool, and I like that. I'm trying to picture in my head like the size of how big the ship would be as it's going around. But I think that's a really neat mechanic to have, just this moving piece of the map that's going around. And you know, in Stormheim, you know how you have like when you're leveling up, you have those grappling hook items. It'd be kind of cool if you were on other areas of the map, if like you could find a grappling hook and like if the Maw of Souls is passing by, you could use a grappling hook to like storm the enemy ship and stuff.
Oh, that'd be such a great idea. Because right now I'm imagining that if you miss the dock, if you miss the boat as it comes docking in, you can't get on there. So, I mean, and that's a really good point. When you talk about the Maw of Souls, it's a huge, I mean, it's a whole dungeon in the game once you play the game. So maybe it wouldn't be called the Maw of Souls. Maybe it would just be like another boat, because I want to see it like going along the battleground underneath these bridges as you go up. So to do the game and the lore justice, maybe we wouldn't call it that, but still, I mean, that's a great idea, Ro, with the grappling hook. Like, oh crap, I'm not on the Maw and I missed the map objective, as so many times players do. You know, they're doing their own deal, they're doing whatever it is they're doing, and they miss the map objective. Just to grapple onto the ship to get there to do as much damage to those adds and the enemy team as possible, and forcing the team fight, Kristen. That's what I was thinking here. Like, take these teams and force them to get on on this ship, and it's really tough to retreat or to get out of this situation alive.
It certainly would be, but that's the joy of it, right? I mean, I know not everybody likes the forced team fights, which I think is in part why Haunted Mines wasn't really, because it could just snowball pretty quickly. But at the same time, it's just so awesome because you know you're going into this map to team fight, and you may be great, you may not be, but that's the roll of the dice, and that's the excitement. So how long would it take for this Maw to get to Hell Yeah? I mean, if everything goes perfectly, could you wipe the team and prevent all damage being done to your core by killing as many ads as need be?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think it will take long. I mean, what's a normal like a normal time for something if you were to stand on one of the Sky Temple temples for and never leave it? How long would that take? Maybe that's how long it would feel. Like you're on this Maw, you're sailing up, you're killing these creatures, and you're getting XP from that, but also it's, you know, you're trying to make it so your base is not going to take as much damage. And also I figured that once the ship and the souls get to Hell Yeah at the top, that she would do damage spread out in the same fashion row as Blackheart's Bay. So, like, you know how it'll target the outermost towers, the outermost forts.
And work its way in, yeah.
So it wouldn't go directly to core because that, you know, that'd be tough. But I can just imagine these fights, Kristen, where you're in this thing, and when it's over, you're like, guys, next time we have got to get on that ship together. We've got to teamwork. We've got to get on there, try to wipe them out, take out the ads, and so we don't lose more of our base.
But you know how many stories there would be of entire teams missing the boat, right? I mean, there would be countless.
You missed the boat.
Exactly.
I'm on a boat. And the other thing about it is that this would be a great, and I would never do this, but this would be a great troll opportunity, right? Because, I mean, if you look at the maps that we're looking at now, there really are not... There's nothing that is set up to do damage to your core or to hurt you unless you do something versus like a PvE sort of situation, right? So this is set up to do, let's say, you know, however much damage, 1 million damage right at the very beginning, and you have to do something to prevent that, where in the other ones, the enemy team has to do something in order to activate that damage. You know what I'm saying? So this would be a little different in the respect that if you did nothing about it and the enemy team did nothing about it, you would both take the same amount of damage.
Yeah, and that would help as far as the pacing of the fight. I see this as a fight where it's not going to last as long as a Garden of Terror match, that's for sure. It feels like this is the kind of fight that could end very quickly, especially if you can keep the other team from getting onto the boat. I mean, that could be a fight in and of itself. And we are talking about the fight on the boat. What if part of the strategy is just keeping the other team off the boat?
Oh, yeah. Imagine a mighty gust right before the boat's about to leave. The horn sounds, boo, the horn sounds.
Or Zagara at level 10 just putting 3 heroes in a maw just before they get on the boat.
Maybe that's OP. Maybe that wouldn't work. But I'm telling you, that would be... Oh, man. Can you imagine some of those esports moments would be crazy, right? Like, oh, God, they all got locked down. What a mosh pit. ETC's going to die, but he locked down the whole team not getting on the maw. Oh, it would be crazy. So my Easter egg for this map is I thought, how cool would it be if maps had skins? So fill me out for a second here. Let's imagine you could go in and you could buy a skin for a map, and for this specific Hell Yeah map, or Helheim map rather, you could buy the Halls of Valor version, where if you play it on your screen, you're going to see it as if it was the complete opposite, which is the Halls of Valor, and the ship that goes up through the top would be like the light bridge in that dungeon. So you come down, the light bridge activates, you jump on the light bridge, you're fighting like whatever it is, trying to prove your worth to Odin. You get to the top of the light bridge and Odin swipes you guys off, and then he does damage to the cores. What if you could purchase a skin just for your own aesthetic pleasing, and so you could see a map in a completely different light?
Wow.
I'd be interested to find out if the map skin affected win rates. Just based on the feel and the design alone.
That'd be interesting, right, to find out. But I would imagine that if you didn't have this scan, you'd be seeing Helheim and it would be the same battle. But you have a great point, Kristen. Like, what if morale played into it? Also, I think that it would be probably really ridiculously hard to tune that technically, like to make it exactly lined up with the exact same timing of exactly everything. So I don't know, Ro, what do you think about that?
Map skins, you know, as much just you bringing up the idea of map skins actually has me thinking outside the box of the whole Helheim thing. I mean, Helheim and Halls of Valor would be great, but now I'm thinking about, like, man, what if you changed Ungoro Crater to some, like, StarCraft Zerg world or something? Or what if you changed, say, Blackheart's Bay to some modern Earth Overwatch peer setting? The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and you know, I know there's a ton of artwork and, you know, voiceovers and a ton of talent work and stuff to go into making that change, but the work for designing the map itself would be done already, right? Like the objectives, I mean, the actual structure of how the map's going to work.
Just the art assets would be different, right?
Yeah, all that
the art assets and the voice files, yeah.
It'd be crazy different. Okay, that's my Helheim map over here. Really crazy and weird, but I mean, Kristen, I can't wait to hear what yours is because I think yours is going to be a little different than both of ours.
Well, of course it is. Y'all love your Warcraft. But what about Diablo? I mean, we're going, this being the first Battleground forging we've done, we've got to go with things we're comfortable with, that we're really familiar with, right? Because then it's not, it allows us to feel out the weird kinks and everything that can kind of come into doing something new. So, Of course, Diablo 2, specifically Diablo 2 is what I've gone with. And the name of this battleground is the Den of Evil. Welcome, everybody, to the den you've probably done 50 to 100 times.
I was just thinking that.
Oh, my gosh.
So with this one, the background info, if you've never played Den of Evil, the very first quest any Diablo 2 player receives is the Den of Evil. It was a non-mandatory dungeon filled with shadowy creatures and horrors from beyond the grave. Your job, kill everything in there. Once there were 5 monsters left, the remaining kills were counted down. And then once purged, light would shine down into the cave, and your hero would mutter something along the lines of, "This cave has been purged of evil," or, "Is that all of them?" So the victory conditions, they're going to play together, right? Purge the den of evil, of its evil, and destroy the core. Now, the environment, it's inside a cave. Stalagmites litter the terrain. The floor is dirt and stone. And looking at it makes you smell a cool, dank darkness. As for sounds, it echoes a lot. And while you can hear enemies better and from a longer distance away than the maps we have now, it may not always be in the direction you think it is. All right, so for the lanes, we're going to have 3. However, the terrain itself would change, randomly selecting one of 5 different layouts each time you go into the map itself.
Oh, good old Diablo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Gotta have those mixed up tiles. Okay, now we're moving into the minions, mercs, and bosses. And minions, there wouldn't be any minions. And we'll get into this in a bit. Mercs, we're going with Tainted for the Siege Giants and Fallen Shaman that raise Fallen for the Bruisers. And the boss. Now, the boss doesn't spawn every time you play this map. But if the siege camps are zombies instead of Tainted, then Corpse Fire, the boss, will be guaranteed to spawn once at a random location on the map. The team that takes him down and claims his death pad gets a special prize.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear this mechanics here.
Okay, mechanics. So the enemy structures, including the core, cannot be damaged unless the cave is cleared of evil. This means that minions will not spawn as per usual. Instead, groups of free-roaming monsters will spawn on a random timer. This could be a spawn every half a minute or a spawn every 5 minutes. Because of this, both teams will benefit from going on monster hunts. These groups will not appear on the map unless there are only 5 monsters left to kill. Otherwise, it's a blind hunt to find the evil. Merc camps, either grabbed or they're ready to grab, do not count toward this total. And then killing the groups of evil monsters gives the team that landed the killing blows stacks of what I'm calling Eyes of Evil, but we can change it if we need to. Once they reach 20 stacks, the team that has those stacks can then activate it to reveal for a short time where all of the groups of evil are on the map. The team that manages to kill Corpsefire, should he be in the map this time, and claim his corpse, are allowed to attack enemy structures as if there were no groups of evil still on the map.
Okay, I was wondering about that. My biggest question I had was, is there a way for one team to be able to attack the other team's core and structures ahead of the opposing team? And you just answered it right there with Corpsefire. Good stuff.
So talking about Corpsefire, Kristen, explain to us a little bit about what Corpsefire looks like in this map, like just the whole model of it and things like that.
All right, so in the original Diablo, Corpsefire, he's just a blue zombie. But I think for this, we could still go with the blue zombie look, certainly. But we could imagine he'd be beefed up and he'd actually maybe have some blue flames coming off of him.
Yeah.
Maybe he has an
He's
AoE
a corpse,
burn
he's on
damage.
fire.
What more do we need?
Works for me. So does Corpsefire have like a boss amount of health? You're gonna go and try to take Corpsefire, so he's gonna be harder than the other ads that are in the cave.
Correct. He would definitely. And when he spawns, it would be scaled to where you are in terms of your levels and the damage you can output.
So how do you think the changing of the map from battle to battle would play out in, say, like an esports aspect of this? Like how... So you're saying in true Diablo fashion, would it be completely random every time you went in? Or would there be like 5 or 6 presets for what it could look like?
I would imagine there would be presets. Like I was saying, there would be 5 map types that you could have. The lanes would pretty much stay the same. There might be a little tinkering there. But otherwise, places you could hide, places you could walk, all of that kind of stuff would be changed around. Maybe even the merc camps would be in different locations.
I have an idea. How about with each wave, right? Let's say you clear all the evil creatures and you clear Corpsefire, and you have this window of opportunity to attack the other team's structures and stuff like that. When that time expires, all of a sudden the map goes black. Darkness sweeps through the den of evil, and all the heroes are basically locked in position, like shivering in fear or something like that. And when darkness clears, all of a sudden the den of evil has a completely different layout.
Oh, man.
Oh,
cool.
That would be sick. Oh.
That would
my
be
goodness.
really
Okay,
cool.
So when we're talking about this, are you thinking different as in one of the 5 presets, or this would
Right.
just
That would be a way to rotate through the tile presets, because I understood what Jeffrey was saying. It's like, well, for esports, would it want to use one particular tile set for like matches and stuff like that? I think you take the randomness that one of the things that's great about Diablo 2 is the randomness of the dungeon sets as far as like the passages and stuff. And I think if you incorporate it into just the whole theme of evil and darkness, and you just have this overwhelming darkness that after when evil's coming back, darkness sweeps in, and all of a sudden everything you knew about the den of evil is changed, and now you have to adjust your pathing and your strategy and stuff like that. And it causes other groups to also have to rethink and adjust on the fly how they're going to get from one place to the other.
Oh, that would be fantastic. And then imagine too, instead of Corpsefire, maybe randomly once this map you're on, each time it goes dark and changes, Corpsefire is going to spawn somewhere and sometime.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know when.
Oh,
yeah.
That's crazy. Ro, you do
and
realize...
Also, I feel like we have to have like special voice lines for the Butcher whenever the Butcher beats up Corpsefire. I don't know. There needs to, just how you have heroes interacting with each other. What would the butcher say the corpse fire is he's beating them up?
Oh man, he'd probably just laugh or make some weird pig noises or something.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Ro, you do realize this is kind of a competition, man, and you're giving Kristen like the best idea with this blackout. That is such a cool idea.
I'm putting trust in my dinosaurs. I think the Den of Evil with the darkness and the changing maps is a great idea, but I still think my dinosaurs are pretty cool.
Dinos always win in my mind, but let me tell you what, a little bit of Helheim over here on my build it's gonna win this week. It's gonna win. But Kristen, great build. That's got that Diablo 2 feel to it. I love the fact that the maps will change, and that little sprinkle of pixie dust you just put on it there at the end with the blackout and stuff. You guys, that was such a great idea. So those are our 3 builds. I mean, those are our 3 awesome Battleground builds. There's a way that you can check these Battleground builds out again, because we're gonna put some voting up on our Twitter page. So you can check out our website, which is heroesforge.club. Over there, I'm gonna post a link to the doc that has all 3 Battlegrounds on it, so that you can do a little bit of research before you vote. You can vote on our Twitter page, which is @ForgeHeroes. Every week we forge hero kits, and we put voting up to see which ones you guys thought was the better of the 2 builds. And like we always say, better is in the eye of the beholder. If better to you means funnier, if better means I like dinos, if better means, I just having a complete random map change would be awesome, or you just think one is funny or completely OP or crazy, your vote is your vote, and you can do it over on Twitter, which is @ForgeHeroes. Ro, thank you so much for joining us. I know you got to get to your raid, man, and I know what it's like when people are waiting for you to get raiding. So thank you for joining us, and man, where can people find you and your amazing content online?
Well, you can find the Realm Maintenance podcast on the web at realm-maintenance.com. Realm Maintenance can be found on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, pretty much anywhere. If you have a podcast app, you will probably find it on there. You can follow the show on Twitter @Realm Podcast, and if you want to check out my personal Twitter feed, you can go to @RowWow, which is spelled RHOWOW. And just once again, thank you guys for giving me time to be on the show. It's been really fun forging Battlegrounds with you guys, and it's also made me more hyped for what is it that the Heroes team is going to reveal at BlizzCon, because we still don't know what's going to be. I feel like we're going to find out about at least one new Battleground, and I can't wait to see what it is.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And thank you again for joining us. Check out all of Ro's content. It is worth every second of listening in your ears. I'm telling you. Kristen, where can people find you on the interwebs?
People can find me at Dream Destroyer, that is DRMDESTRYR, over at Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as my health and fitness blog, battletobebetter.weebly.com, where this week we discuss what to look for in a good accountability buddy.
Oh, accountability buddy. I love it. Is that someone that you could also maybe like game with? You're going to work out. Hey guys, so would I be a good accountability buddy if I said, let's go run 3 miles, and then after that's over, we'll play Warcraft, and then after that's over, we'll go lift some weights? Is that what you mean by that?
Heck yes, that's what I mean by that.
I love it. That's so cool. I have to check it out. If you're looking where I'm at on the interwebs, you can find me right here on HeroesForge. We record live every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here on twitch.tv/Amove TV, because we are a part of Amove TV, which is a great esports and video game environment for podcasting, VODs, tons of really cool stuff at their website. Check it out. It's amove.tv. Just to plug a little bit of Into the Nexus last week, they also had an interview with a game developer, lead Battleground designer over there. So check out their most recent episode, and you can find that on amove.tv. Tons of awesome content over there. Check it out. You can find Heroes Forge on Twitter @ForgeHeroes. That's where you can vote and follow us for all of the updates about the show and what heroes will be forging in the future. You can send us an idea. If you have an idea for a hero you'd like to see on the show, or after today's episode, maybe even a Battleground that you'd like to see us talk about, send it to our email, which is contactheroesforge@gmail.com, or you can send us a note on our website, which again, is HeroesForge.club on the contact page there. If you like what you're seeing here on the show and you'd like to help us grow and support the show even more, you can check out our Patreon site, which is patreon.com/HeroesForge. And if you happen to listen to us on iTunes, dropping us a 5-star review over there gives us a huge exposure and helps the show grow. Make sure you leave us a little note so that we can say thank you to you live on the show as a huge thank you for giving us that 5-star rating. All right, we got 3 builds out there, people. We got the Ungoro Crater from Ro. We got the Helheim from myself, and then the Den of Evil from Kristen. 2 Warcraft represented and 1 Diablo. Let's see how the voting goes. And Kristen, what are your thoughts on all this?
Final thought before we go. I never told you my Easter egg. Guys, Hell Bovine. I'll leave you with that.
and with that, she just won.
Yeah. Game over. Drop the mic with Elbow Vine.
Elbow Vine for the win.
What a great way to end the show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you again to Ro. Thank you for Kristen, as always, being awesome co-host of the show. And we will see you all in the real world.